We'll just do a hot start here today. Our mics are live. Let me know if you can hear me right now over on YouTube. Let's pop over this way real quick. Hey, hopefully you can hear me just fine. We've got Starship testing going on. Just give me a 5x5 real quick. And Michael, are we good on audio? Are you hearing me?
The chat is saying 5x5, and I'm hearing you too,
All
so I think
right,
we're
good
good.
deal. So we're going quick, fast, and in a hurry because the roadblock is already up and the tank farm is already venting. I'm not going to do the big intro. You know where you are. You know what's going on. Starship SN4 testing, apparently, if I put my hat in the right place. We already have, let's check, a live signal coming in from Boca Chica via Mary. Let's just pop over here really quickly and see what's going on. Folks, there's already vents coming off the farm, right? What did we miss? We were getting the stream up here as quick as we could, and Mary is out there on the side of the road, but what's the status? What are we expecting today?
So we are expecting a third static fire attempt for Starship SN4 in the last 28 hours, maybe a little bit more than that. I guess 20, yeah, because they were starting earlier yesterday. So this will be the third attempt they've made in the last 28 hours or so to perform this test. The previous two attempts have been aborted. So hopefully this attempt will go slightly better and we'll see a static fire. If all goes well, that could set them up for a 150-meter hop later this week, not today, but later this week. They do have a flight restriction posted for that hop on the 21st. That was before they had the static fire aborts yesterday. So we're not sure if that will slip another day as a result of the static fire being delayed today. But the absolute earliest a hop could occur is the 21st, so we are just expecting a static fire test today.
Gotcha. So we're expecting a static fire because we know that this needs to progress to a static fire in order to get that hop done. And I know that SpaceX and probably particularly Elon are keen to get SN4 hopping, right?
Yeah, and they also have that super important Demo 2 mission coming up, so I'm sure they want to get this out of the way as soon as possible.
Gotcha. That's a good question. Is this two different teams that work on these things? Like, are there people that are involved with commercial crew, or does SpaceX pretty much compartmentalize? Probably the wrong term, but people working on Starship are not necessarily going to impact commercial crew? Question mark.
What
That's
I've
correct, I think, as long as you're not pulling people from commercial crew to work on Starship, which,
Yeah.
given the nature of Demo 2's impendingness, is that a word?
Sure.
I don't think they would be doing that, but Michael might have some more insight than I.
So I thought they were completely independent, but I'm under the impression that they prefer to get this test done as soon as possible because it's Demo 2. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I mean it might be that like on software or something. They have some crossover with machines that are writing flight software for this and flight software for Falcon 9 and whatnot. So who knows? But I'm sure a lot of this stuff for commercial crew you think would also be finalized well ahead of the launch. So who knows what the reason is, but I do understand that they would prefer to get this test done as soon as possible.
I
Gotcha.
think there'd be a little bit of crossover at the highest level. We're talking like the company executives who kind of want to focus on one thing at a time. There might be and especially because everyone at the company who works on Starship also wants to see Demo 2 happen. So you don't want, workforces being distracted by what the other teams are doing, I guess. So I could see a couple reasons you want to get Starship out of the way first.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so again, for people that are just joining us, we've once again spooled up the signal live from Boca Chica. Boca Chica gal Mary is out there just about 1.6 miles away from the pad. She is near the roadblock, the hard roadblock that shut down access to the beach. You can already see a ton of venting coming from the farm. The flare is active, so the next things we're going to watch for are venting coming from Starship itself. Those upper vents usually pop first, and then we'll get some lower venting from the left-hand side coupled with some vapor coming off the bottom of Starship as we get those cold liquid oxygen into the tanks down there on the bottom, the skirt with the Raptor down there underneath. So that's what we're doing. We are watching for this, and if everything goes to plan, we're hoping to see a static fire today. Not a hop, but not just fueling. Sort of the in-between steps here. We want that Raptor to produce some thrust. We want to see a big cloud of dust get kicked up, and we want SpaceX to proceed because they need to get this static fire on Raptor SN20. We've seen SN18 static fire, but this would be the first static fire on the test stand here at Boca Chica for SN20, right, y'all?
Yep, and you just answered Don's super chat question, which was asking if this was the first static fire with SN20. That's Raptor SN20, not Starship SN20, of course.
Right.
And that is correct. So after the first 2 static fires on Starship SN4 with Raptor SN18, if that's not confusing, they took out Raptor SN18 and replaced it with Raptor SN20. So today's static fire test will, in fact, be the first static fire with Raptor SN20.
SN20, and that's we can see it painted on the bell of the engines, right? Somebody, do we have? I know we have a good picture of it, but could somebody source that picture of SN20?
One of Mary's pictures, we can get that. Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody could help me out with that real quick.
And the interesting thing, oh, just venting for now from the vehicle.
Was there?
At the very top. Yeah.
Yep, is that our top vent?
Yep.
Excellent.
The interesting part about the Raptors is that the number on the engine bell, my understanding is that that is not the serial number of the entire Raptor. That's just the serial number of the engine bell.
Oh, jeez.
Which almost always happens to be connected to the serial number of the Raptor, because usually they make one engine bell. They make one new engine bell for each new Raptor. So generally, there is normally SN20's engine bell happens to be the 20th engine bell, so they match. But it is possible at some point in the future we could see a different number.
Gotcha.
I think the actual serial number for the Raptor is, I've been told at least, it's on the LOX power, the oxygen power head. So that is hard to see, and I'm not sure that's something you can see without a very close-up photo, which SpaceX probably would not be happy with.
Right.
Yeah, that's at least my understanding of how the numbering system works on the Raptors.
Yeah, as not shy as they are with them, just wheeling them down the street uncovered. Bird. They definitely wouldn't want a photo, like a nice detailed photo of the power head or a specific component like that. That's kind of, I think, when you start to get into proprietary land.
Yeah, and a super chat question from Philip. Given they're still testing SN4, isn't it a bit optimistic to be building SN5 and SN6, since engineering changes may be needed? Who wants that one?
Not me.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking for this SN20 picture, but what was the question?
Given they're still testing SN4, isn't it a bit optimistic to be building SN5 and 6, since engineering changes may be needed?
It's not optimistic. It's just how they work.
Yeah, I think there are changes between SN4 and SN5. They're still improving the process as they go. It's just not based on the static fire data. But yeah, I think that if they can go back and change SN5 that's already built, after the SN4 static fire, if they see data that they actually need to change things, it's not impossible for them to go and make changes to an already built vehicle. So, and the odds of them having to change a lot about the SN5 vehicle based on static fire data is pretty small. So they can always go back and tweak things as needed. But they're not expecting the need to overhaul the entire vehicle. So
Gotcha.
I'm looking at a photo of Raptor right now, and I know we're still trying to get one to you, Das.
Oh, it's okay.
I got it.
But I see it's the one where it's being wheeled down to the launch site, and you can see there's like an arm coming off of near the top of the engine, and just barely obscured by some of the tubing and piping there, I can see engraved on that arm SN:2. So it looks like there are other spots on the engine visible in the sort of shots that we've seen already, where we might see the specific engine serial number. Of course, for all I know, that could be the serial number for that specific arm, in the same way that the serial number on the bell is the serial number for the bell. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that there are other 20s on this engine. So when we see more engines, we can look not just at the bell, but also at other parts of it and sort of figure out what's what.
Gotcha. And I did pull up that, or I didn't, Thomas did, let's see here. We have the picture of. Why is that down there?
Yeah, it's that one.
Oh,
It's that
oh,
one. It's-
because we were watching the we
We
were
were
watching the
watching
plane.
for the Antonov yesterday.
Yeah, I got it. Hang on. Sorry. We're always doing it live. So
So the
that
thing-
is a picture of Raptor SN20. A little bit hard to see when we put it picture in picture, but there is a whoa bird. There is a 20 on the engine bell. Can I telestrate that? I can. Sorry, mobile users. I know that when I do that, it's really hard for y'all to see if you're on mobile, but dialing
There's
things
also
in.
so the spot I was talking about. If you want to throw that back up really quickly, sorry.
Sure.
Where I can see the additional serial number. It's basically right below that yellow liner that's over that port right there. If you go below that, there's an arm just inside your circle. That horizontal arm that's just at the bottom of your circle.
Like right here?
Below that.
Below that, okay.
At
Down
the very
there.
bottom of your circle. Yeah, right
Yeah,
there.
okay.
That's the arm that I'm seeing the serial number on. So if you guys have L2 access or go on Twitter and look at these photos, you can zoom in, and that's where the additional serial number is.
Yeah, and a little bit easier to see the big 20 right there, but as Michael was saying, that may be the serial number of the bell, not necessarily the entire engine. So, might want to
yeah,
put...
and right above that also, there's the ground support ring that is used to mount the Raptor to the pallet that they drag it around on. Right above that, there's an ESN20 as well. So
wow.
There's multiple spots on this thing where we see the number 20, although that still appears to be on the engine bell.
Yep.
So I don't know if that would also be an engine, but it also says ESN, which to me
is like
just
engine.
Guessing,
Yeah,
I would guess that's engine serial number. But I'm literally just looking at a photo here and making stuff up, so ignore me.
Yeah, gotcha. And I don't want to bring that up again. Let me see real quick. I know that this is small once again, but I hadn't noticed that before, Jack. Thank you for pointing that out. Whenever they're transporting these Raptors on the forklift, there's like these struts. This is some Kerbal level nonsense right here. There are struts that are actually holding up that engine with this ring right here. So that must be like a structural piece.
In a lovely stenciled text, it says, for use with GSE ring part number 013172, etc. only.
There you go.
We know we have the part number for that GSE ring because of those as well. And it's clearly specifically a Raptor piece of equipment, and they don't want you mixing and matching these parts because that would be bad if a Raptor fell over on the road.
Yeah, gotcha. So here is a question from chat. The numbers we've seen on the steel rings in Mary's photos and videos, I think some of them have some numbers or something like that on it. Do we know what that means? It's like ring 147, or has anybody noticed things like that?
Yeah, a lot of the rings do have numbers on them. I think it's just they number them as they're making them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's no direct connection from those numbers to like the Starship vehicle they're going to go on because not all the rings end up getting used. Some of them get scrapped, but depending on how well they
Right.
go.
Right.
Somebody asked, hey, is that the forklift guy in the photo?
No.
Our favorite
the
troll
forklift
forklift guy.
It's a forklift guy. I don't know if it's the forklift guy.
Forklift guy. And Jack, those questions that you put in there, those were questions from chat about videos posting?
Yeah, in chat queue.
Gotcha. So, can one of y'all talk about that, Jack? Can you cover that?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm the one
posting?
that's been editing the videos lately, the daily video updates from Boca Chica that we've been uploading, like startlingly consistently, thanks to Mary's relentless coverage down there. But you may have noticed that every now and then lately, there's been a day without an update. And I don't know if you can tell, but we spend a lot of time doing these streams and bringing you guys live views, and that eats up some of our bandwidth. So we actually have a good number of videos from today banked and ready to be edited and thrown up on the channel. It's just a matter of resource management, and Mary, the person who shoots all of this footage and uploads it so that we can edit it and get it out to you guys, is out there with a camera right now. So as soon as she has some free time, I imagine, hopefully the test goes well today, she'll go home, she'll get some food and rest and upload the rest of everything, and we'll get that edited together and thrown it up for you guys as soon as possible.
And I was going to say, what do you mean? We uploaded a 4-hour video from the live stream.
Yeah. That's an even better answer. I mean,
yeah.
We've got some
sort of
venting from the Starship vehicle,
And
guys.
frost, it looks like.
Yep.
And, yeah, I see frost lines forming as well.
All right, so we are fully into it here. Interesting
Yep.
that we haven't seen any condensation from the plumbing leading up to the vehicle, but maybe that's just not something that will happen always.
We have a super chat question. Mary, is the grass area, that venting, happening today? We have seen some venting from the
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah, there's a little bit right now.
Yep, so
Yeah.
there's that. Carl, thank you for the membership. Welcome to Red Team. Christopher, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate the support.
And so, can everybody see the I guess what we would say would be the venting or the frost there? How there's a little bit of a color differential on the tanks right now. About
Yeah,
what
you
is
can
that?
tell
Third,
that.
fourth ring.
Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Is it? It's tempting to count the bulkhead as a ring just because it's like about the same, it's the same height as one,
right.
even though it's not a ring at all.
Yep, yep.
But yeah,
And the grass is venting. Somebody's saying the grass is venting.
did I miss something with that? I didn't. I don't follow that.
There's a vent
There's a-
off
yeah.
to the left that's like in the grass, and I think at some point one of us said the grass is venting when really we meant the vent that was in the grass.
Oh no, I meant the grass was venting.
Well, then someone pointed out
That
you
was
know,
me, and I meant the grass was venting. I said
well,
what I
someone
meant,
pointed
and I
out
meant what I
grass
said.
does vent oxygen via photosynthesis, technically. So
There is a vent that sort of seems to be on a pipe away from the rest of the facility. It doesn't look like it's methane because it's not a flare, but it's just over literally in what seems to be the middle of the grass. So I said the grass was venting once.
Okay.
So we have
is
the
it
flare
left
stack.
side, right side?
It's left side, but we're a little bit tight right now, so we don't see the grass vent right now.
Oh, I'm not heartbroken about that. I want to see Starship.
Marcus, thank you for the membership. And Big Hearted Ape says side venting, if all goes well, 20 to 25 minutes out. So I guess they've been timing it.
Yep, and there's
we've had
that
a couple
flare is
people
going
who are,
too.
like, lining up all the pre-static fire events and trying to figure out what the timeline is, which of course isn't like a perfect science because if they hold at any point, then it throws all your times off. But yeah, some people are kind of starting to get that idea of how far out the vents start happening in the flare stack and things like that.
Right. I mean, the wind is really going today because look at that flare. That flare
Yeah.
is almost 90
and all
degrees.
the venting is getting pushed way to the left.
Yeah.
The good thing about that is it means if we see a lot of condensation building up before the static fire, it's going to get blown away from the vehicle, so it won't obscure our view.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a really good point. And if the engine does start, hopefully that big dust cloud will get blown away immediately. That the dust cloud that normally gets kicked up. Neat. Hooray, wind.
Yeah.
And today's window does extend till 6 p.m. local time, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep,
Correct.
but if all goes well, looks like hopefully we will not be here until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
God.
And there's currently, just to update everybody,
Oh, here we go. 10-minute siren.
Wow.
Already? All right, we got
Dang.
10 minutes out, folks.
We actually
There's
got
a
the
lot-
siren in.
Yeah, 10-minute siren.
That'll get your
Awesome.
heart rate going.
They are on a schedule today,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
Jeez. What is it? The time is 1:49 or sorry, the time is 12:49 local time, central time there. So 12:59 would be the 10 minutes after the siren. That is fast, y'all.
All right,
I
I've
love
set
it.
a 9-minute timer.
Nice.
All right, so that just occurred at 49 local time, so we're looking at just about 12:59 local time static fire.
Yes. Actually, the siren just happened at 12:49, and so we're expecting the 12:59 local time about when the static fire might
Right,
be.
exactly.
I said that right before you said it.
Oh, sorry.
So-
I think my internet might have cut out or something.
I figure we might as well repeat it one more time for anybody who's paying attention. Look at that
Okay.
vent. That's a lot of venting from the side.
Yep.
So if you're just
Pressing
joining us,
tanks, maybe.
Yeah.
this is the first static fire that you've watched. You've seen the first sign, that was the T minus 10-minute siren. Now, just two things we're going to be looking for. One is the flare to get even bigger. We're going to see a big flare about a minute or so out. And we should also see the water deluge system activate. There's a big fire hose at the base of the rocket that's going to spray that bottom of the pad area right where the flame's going to come out. So watch for water to start spraying. That'll be a sign that the static fire is about to happen, and also that big flare.
Yeah.
Future Martian with the super chat. Thank you again for your support. A regular on the stream. We appreciate it.
It says, yay, siren.
Yay, siren. Exactly.
Yay, siren.
There's another T-shirt idea for you. Just yay, siren.
Yay, siren.
There you go.
We've actually created a channel in our Discord, our behind the scenes. It's not a public Discord, but maybe we should create one in the member Discord as well. That's just like T-shirt ideas. So we're already working on the roadside rocket science T-shirt, and I would wear a shirt that says "Yay Siren" that just has like an icon of a siren.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, it's also, you could go a little punny with it too. Oh,
is that another
one.
siren?
Sounds
No,
like another
he's
one.
just coming back to the checkpoint.
It's a 2-minute long siren.
He doesn't want to miss the static fire. So he turned on lights and sirens, went full disco mode there.
Hazmaster says, we're about to go full plaid at the pad.
Full plaid at the pad. Nice. And maybe a big flare T-shirt. Just so what we could do is we could have a series of T-shirts that are all the different steps before a hop or a static fire or whatever, and you could wear all of them. And then as each thing happens, you could take it off.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta change shirts as the countdown goes on.
So your first shirt could be roadblock, and then when it starts to vent, you take off the roadblock shirt, and underneath it you have a shirt that says venting. And then after that you take it off, and it says Starship vents. You take it off, it says big flare. Seth
Kirk with the super chat. Wee woo, wee woo.
Wee woo,
great,
wee woo.
great siren impression.
Classic.
Samuel as well. We appreciate you over there as well. So there's a question over here from Zyzep. Now that they've been this quick, could we expect maybe 2 static tests a day? What are y'all thoughts on 2 static tests in a single period?
I think they would only do a second one if for some reason they saw data on the first one that like wasn't quite right or anything. I think if the first one goes well, that's enough for them.
Yeah.
They still want to use this engine for a hop test too. So
Yeah. Conversely, you could say if they saw something that wasn't quite right, they would probably not do another static fire because they want to go and inspect everything, pull things apart.
also true, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it could go either way, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on whatever data they saw was like something that they could just try again to see if it works better, or if they actually think they need to go change something.
Yeah.
So it would depend.
I would say if the engine ignites at all, they're probably going to want to
Have a look.
inspect the engine before they do another static fire.
Yeah,
no matter
yeah.
what.
Brendan Gleason, thanks for the super chat. It says, tell them to slow down. I haven't opened my beer yet. It's 11 o'clock here in Pacific time, so I guess beer o'clock somewhere.
The pre-noon beer for the Starship. Nice.
Samuel Robinson, thanks for the $5 super chat. And Seth Kirk, I think we already did wee woo, wee woo. But I just want to say wee woo again.
Nice.
And Trevor. Yeah, thanks so much. You guys, you really do make this possible with all of your support. So thank you so much. It really means a lot to us, and it means that we can continue to bring you things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, y'all, I need to check the status on all the modems right now. So let me go. And I'm going to be quiet for a second while I do that.
Das, I'm just gonna say a bunch of technical stuff, so you leave me alone for a little bit. It's like I'm gonna plug in some Ethernet into a 40 3D5 port, and I'm like, okay, dude, whatever.
Das isn't here right now. We are sorry. Das cannot be reached at this time.
The Das you have called.
All right, we got 2.3 gigs of data on one modem, and let me check the other one here. So that's 2 hours. Well, a little bit less.
Looks like
actually.
we're around 4 minutes away.
Yep.
Based on my timer.
And we've got just over 6,000 people watching now. I think some people saw the siren tweets and flocked in.
Yeah.
Smart.
And we do have some SpaceXers watching too.
All right, good.
They have been pulling out.
Check that box off then.
And a liquid oxygen truck sitting here.
Really?
Yeah. You'll have
super
to
chat
wait
from Super chat from Moldy Space Industries. Das, don't forget the flux capacitors.
Don't forget the flux capacitor. Well, I didn't have time to paint it, and it's not to scale, so
Just like the LOX truck being out there, there was a time, I think it was for around the SN1 being built, where I saw a Greyhound bus just go all the way down Highway 4, all the way to the beach, and then come like all the way back up. So I don't know what that Greyhound driver was doing, but he definitely wanted to sightsee a little bit. There's not a Greyhound stop at the beach, is there, Mary?
Philip Moyer wants to know, what's the hold down mechanism on the pad? Clamps or just welded on? I think there's bolts, right?
Yeah, there's those sort of brown steel girders that were probably sunk into concrete, right? And then I believe that SN4 is bolted down onto the top of that thing. So
Yeah.
should charge up the differential girdle springs. The turbo
Wayward
encabulator
Plane says, I will pay money to hear you say wee woo again. So there you go. Thank you for the super chat.
Again, y'all, we're now 3 minutes away from the 10-minute siren, or from hearing the 10. All right, what's the right way to say this? 10 minus 3 minutes ago, we heard a 10-minute siren. So, 7 minutes ago,
Ow.
we heard
my head.
They say, I know, right? Quick maths here. But in 3 minutes, or now in 2 minutes, we expect that if that siren was 10 minutes in front of the static fire should be happening in 2 minutes at 12:59 p.m. Central Daylight Time, upper left-hand corner of your screen. Whew. I think I got that right.
Yeah, you nailed it.
All
so
right.
why do we care? Because this is a prototype of a next generation rocket, and this might not look like much to you, but to us, it's beautiful and exciting. And we are less than 2 minutes, hopefully, if the siren is indeed 10 minutes in front of the static fire, less than 2 minutes away. So everyone just strap in, get ready here. Hopefully we see some fire, and the good kind of fire.
Yeah.
You know, fire good, not fire bad.
And really quick, before activity ramps up, 2 more super chats. Our Diango photo, Richard says, come on, Static Fire. Thanks for all the coverage, NSF team. No problem, Richard, and we appreciate it. And hold up, I got another one. And what about it? Felix says, let's light this candle. Thank you, Mary. So thanks
Nice.
again for the super chat.
What's up, Felix?
And
How's it
another one,
going?
Rocket Chaser says, here we go. Thanks for the stream and info. Priceless. Wee woo. So there you go.
Yep. So everybody, start getting eyes on the bottom of that. On the bottom of SN4, look for the deluge system. So it's literally a fire hose, like a big oversized sprinkler system that's going to spray a bunch of water down there underneath the Raptor. We saw that in the previous status fire on SN18. And our next thing, since we're 12:58, we're 60 seconds. We think
Less than a minute.
Yeah, from
than
the
a
10 minute of the siren. The sirens aren't exact, but your clue to pay attention is going to be that that deluge system.
Yeah, so focus your eyes there on the base of the vehicle as if you weren't already, because that's where the engine is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Doss said, we should start to see a sound suppression, a water suppression system activate. I'm seeing 30 seconds on my clock here. I don't know that I said it exactly right based on the siren. I know there's a little bit of delay with everything, but could be any second now. And I see a lot of super chats coming in. We'll get to you guys in a second.
We're going to hold the
so
super
much,
chats
everybody.
until after this happens now.
Yeah. I'm
I'm showing 15 seconds.
staring
The
down
next
the
sign
deluge
should
system.
be water suppression system, I believe.
Yeah. Again, the sirens aren't exact, so if nothing happens in 15, 20, 30 seconds, that doesn't mean no static fire.
Looks like we're getting some intermittent venting off the left side, more puffing rather than a constant vent, but
Yeah.
it's just got obscured, so I can't really tell if I'm seeing that or making that up.
No, it's a big old cloud sort of billowing to the left side of SN4 there.
Yeah, there's like the constant vent, and then it'll stop and do a little puff. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe that's tank pressing or something.
And I remember with Starhopper, they have lots of built-in hold points within the final 10 minutes. So it's very possible that they're just waiting for something like the propellant temperature to get exactly right, the pressure to get right. There's lots of things they could be doing.
Yeah.
So,
Again, this is not a
bigger
countdown.
flare. The flare's getting bigger.
That is a big
Alright,
flare.
Stack. Another
We're not
activity
seeing
where
water
another
yet,
sign
though.
we're really close.
Wow.
So potentially 2 minutes, because sometimes I think we've thought in the past that big flare is a 2-minute warning. So hopefully, I'm going to reset my timer.
Yeah. And the flare was doing the same thing where you could actually see methane before the ignition point. That's interesting. I'm not sure that that's nominal for a flare, but I'm not a flare expert. I'm just a flare enthusiast.
A roadside flare enthusiast, if you will.
Yeah, roadside flare enthusiast. Look at that flare, though.
Yeah, that thing is really going. Oh, methane. Whoops.
Yep. That needs a little Trogdor drawn on the side of it, like burninating the...
go.
Oh, look at that, y'all!
Oh, static fire!
That's the static fire. All right. So you can see that is a Raptor engine generating thrust. It kicked up that big cloud of dust because there is actual force coming out of the bottom of that thing. And oh no, uh-oh.
We have a fire at the base of the vehicle.
There's multiple fires. There's actually fire coming off of, it seems, a valve, and then the left-hand side.
It looks like we have a port on the bottom right also venting something that's catching fire.
There is still fire. Y'all keep an eye on that. That looks like some sort of leak.
Truck. I imagine at this point they'll do what they can to save the vehicle. And I mean, keep in mind, we saw a 20-foot flame coming off the Starhopper, and the vehicle essentially hopped, I think, within the next week or so after that.
But there is still a flare. There's a fire at the bottom of Hopper. There's some sort of vent, it looks like. You can see the flames licking up the side of not Hopper, but SN4. Sorry. I'm excited.
Yeah. No, you're right. That does not look great. I'm just being optimistic.
We've seen lots of Falcon 9s finishing their entry and landing burns, and fire kind of persists around the base of the vehicle for a little bit. So let's not jump and say this is off nominal, really, or anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do we ever see anything like this on Hopper?
Are you able to see what's on fire? Is it like something cosmetic on the outside, or what is it?
Let me.
There's more fire. Look, the fire actually seems to be growing.
Yeah.
I can't really tell what's on fire.
It's interesting. We haven't seen any water. We didn't see water turn on for the static fire either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have automated.
Look at that. Is that
a fire hose?
We've got some more gas venting from the bottom there. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I see. That might be fire suppression.
There was a big
It could
poof.
be venting nitrogen, trying to purge something inert to snuff it out.
Is that water spray actually being sprayed on that?
That's what I think. I think that's a fire hose.
So they have those automated fire hoses that you can see in photos and videos from down there. So they must have fired up those fire hoses, and now they're hitting the vehicle with the water from them.
They're trying to remove that ignition source.
Yeah,
because
that's more like what we've seen with Starhopper.
The flame at the bottom definitely had fuel. It didn't look like structure was on fire. It looked like fuel, which would be methane coming out of the side of the tank, or a valve or a line or something like that. But that flame at the bottom was getting continuous fuel, and it seriously looks like they just hit it with a robotic fire hose to remove the ignition source. It still seems to be outgassing down there.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
That flare is still in go mode as well. Look at that, y'all.
And if you remember with Starhopper, what was that?
I was just going to give a recap. What were you going to say about Starhopper?
Oh, I was going to remind people that when they started pouring water at the pad on Starhopper one time, they ignited a big methane fireball. So hopefully it does not happen today.
Yeah, there was that time. I don't know if we ever got word on Twitter from Elon or anybody, but it seemed like hot vehicle, cold water caused something to pop off, and then methane was released in a large fireball. That was memorable. I'm going to bring up a photo of that on Twitter so y'all can see what we're talking about. Stand by. It's definitely not the first time that we've seen a Starship prototype or development article enveloped in a large amount of fire. It's definitely not great, but not completely out of family, as we say.
Yeah. Again, this is all experimental stuff, y'all. There's a prototype. They are definitely getting data every time they do this. I know we didn't see anything like that on a previous static fire, but we always wait until we get indication from SpaceX as to exactly what happens. There is still a flame down there, y'all. Am I crazy, or is there still
I think they're still trying to suppress that a bit.
Yeah,
but it's still not quite out.
Wow. And that definitely, I mean, I'm going to say that looks like a water hose going off because it's going against the wind. Look at how strong the wind is with the flare going almost 90 degrees. And that water spray is strong enough to go into the wind without dissipating. Wow. But they're on it, you know. They have systems at the pad. They had that I'm going to say robotic fire hose. I don't know the right way to refer to that, but this is something that they seem to be prepared for. So, go SpaceX, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And it does look like it's at least under control.
Yeah. I agree with that. And y'all, I will apologize a little bit here. I'm sort of commentating this like it's a sporting event and not an engineering test. I get really excited when I see stuff like that. And when I saw that flame down there, I was like, oh my gosh. Nope. Well, I mean,
Yeah, every time they stop the fire, it looks like more stuff comes out and lights on fire. So I think
Yeah.
Doss is probably right. There's some sort of leak.
but what would the ignition source there be? Right? Like,
Could the pure heat from having fired the engine a couple seconds ago, like if the metal is super hot, is that still?
I don't, because you
I
got
don't
you
know.
got locks in the lower tank, which would be super cool, and you're hitting it with that water, which is also going to give it a cooling effect. Um, but that's just the ignition source keeps popping up in the flare. Right? I saw somebody say, "Oh, maybe the flare's lighting it on fire." There's a perspective thing happening with that flare. That flare is not about to touch the side of SN4,
Yeah.
but
It's an optical illusion. Yeah.
yeah, I do.
I just posted a link in chat to the Starhopper Fireball event, and you can even see in my shot there's the same fire hose.
The same
being
sort of thing?
used on. Yeah,
I'm gonna see if I can
I'll
find
post
that,
that.
Jack. There we go.
I'll post that in Control Center. Here you go.
Yeah, I got it out of chat. I got it out of chat. I'm not going to put anything else up on the screen right now because this is very much an active situation, but we
Yeah.
can cue that to roll back the tape and look at.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that in there for chat, letting you guys know.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And someone did point out in chat, and I noticed right before ignition, no sound suppression system of any kind activated right before ignition. So
I wonder if
That
maybe
might
that
be-
had something to do with it.
yeah, I don't know.
And again, y'all, we do not know for sure. We are here commentating. We do not have official information from SpaceX, so we want to share this with you. We get I especially, get very excited about it, but we always want to make sure that before we know 100% what goes on, when we do commentary like this, we're observing the same things you are and just using the knowledge we have to sort of to guess what's going on. But the flare keeps popping up. Wow. Flame, whatever. But again, this is us commentating in real time, observing with our eyes, just the same as you are. And we would wait for any sort of official statement from SpaceX, if we get one, before we say, wow, was this unexpected? Was this a bad thing? Was this a good thing? Please just help us separate commentary from news, right? I know I get super excited about this stuff.
And we got those double vents up top. They're likely looking to detank the vehicle pretty quickly now.
Yeah.
So it looks like now that leak is still occurring, but there's no fire, which is good.
Yeah, I don't see any fire though, so that's good.
There it is right there.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah.
I we jinxed it.
keeps igniting that. And it's just a lick of flame, then it goes away.
That definitely looks like a leak. I think that's getting safe to say now.
Yeah.
Because it keeps occurring.
Wow.
I wonder if that's indicative of a issue with the thrust puck. Is that in the area that would be, or is that lower down?
If it's the ring on the outside, that'd be the thrust skirt.
Yeah.
The thrust plug would be up underneath, which we can't see from this angle directly. So
Wow, y'all. I'm keeping my eyes glued to that thing. That flare stack is just going the whole time.
Keep seeing that big venting from the top. They're clearly trying to get this vehicle detanked quickly, which obviously makes sense.
Right. And so the bottom tank is the LOX tank, right?
yes,
So I'm thinking out loud. Like, if that was a methane line, why would there be a methane line on what seems to be the bottom of the skirt, right?
Yeah, so the LOX tank ends about 4 rings above that.
Right.
So that's just going to be propellant lines running around in that thrust section area. And we
Worth
don't.
noting- that we have seen RCS thrusters on that level of the vehicle. Don't know if there's propellant lines going down to those.
Good call. Yeah.
We don't know exactly, I guess, what is leaking. I mean, it could be oxygen and there's like a big methane cloud around it that's causing the ignition to occur, but we don't know. Like we saw Starhopper again. They poured water on the vehicle and that caused a lot of methane gas to around it to ignite. But I kind of bet it's methane, given that we're not seeing a larger fireball. I don't know. I'm not an
Right.
expert.
Yeah, I would think if there was a cloud of methane around that it would
It'd be
already
a big
mix with
fireball, yeah.
atmospheric oxygen, and if you
Yeah.
got ignition going in a methane cloud, you'd already have your oxygen from the atmosphere. Again,
makes
y'all,
sense.
we're observing this just like you are. We're commenting based on our knowledge, but we are not officially talking about what SpaceX has said. SpaceX is busy right now, managing the situation. So.
Kaz Masters super chat says sound suppression is a big deal. It's not just about hang on, just scrolled up. It does more than deaden sound. It prevents devastating force from vaporizing ground systems. So
Yeah.
perhaps since we didn't see that go on, that something happened to the GSC there.
Yeah.
Looks like
It looks like it's
it doesn't look great, but doesn't seem like it's necessarily out of control. I mean, it seems like they have it under control. It's just not the situation they would have wanted exactly to happen after this test. So
I still see some venting there, but I don't know if it's minimizing. You know, we're just sort of looking. We're very qualitatively commenting on what's going on.
Yeah, so they're just going to detank this vehicle. You can see the sustained double venting and get it as safe as possible. And I bet pretty soon, as soon as it's safe, they'll send the fire truck out there and clean up.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Doss.
Oh, I was just going to reiterate the importance of that suppression equipment. Like we see the Rainbirds at 39 when we get Falcon launches. United Launch Alliance does it. I've even talked with ULA before, and they have to do different sound suppressions at Vandenberg versus the Cape, because the mountains in Vandenberg actually reflect sound energy back towards the rocket differently. So they have to take all these things into account. It's not just, well, they put some water there to cool it down. It's reflection of energy. And
there's
how
a
that
contingent
impacts.
of people who think that a shuttle would have never launched from Slick 6 no matter what, even if Challenger had never happened, just because the sound suppression at
Look at
Slick
that water.
6.
Look at that water
Wow.
right now.
It almost looks like they're trying to coat the side of the vehicle, like cool down the entire thing, maybe.
I mean, LOX is very reactive also, right? So if it's liquid oxygen, I guess it looks like gaseous, but whatever. If it's oxygen, maybe it's just reactive enough that it's not even a matter of heat. It's just hitting something that it's reacting with. I don't know. I just know LOX is not a friendly thing.
And look at those two top vents as well. Those things are venting like mad right now. A lot of times when
it's
they
been
vent,
sustained.
Yeah, it comes straight out. But these are venting so much vapors that they actually have a tail. You don't usually see those from the top vents. And I want everybody to appreciate the power of that water spray. Look at the flare stack and look at the venting. The winds are so strong in that direction, and that water's like, whatever, nerd, I'm going to put this out. And it's actually able to fight that wind. I would not want to be in front of that water spray. I tell you that much.
Yeah, that's a legit fire hose.
God.
They do seem to have. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, obviously, but the situation does not appear to be getting worse at all from what we originally saw.
Right.
So that's a good sign.
We haven't seen it degrading, and I wonder, all of the water for that is probably from on-site tanks, so they probably have a limited amount of water for suppression on-site. Question mark at the end of that. I don't think there's like a water main running out there or anything, right? I mean, even Boca Chica.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah. Like Mary's, the houses in Boca Chica, like Mary's house, they have to, if I'm not mistaken, truck in water. Mary, if you hear us, is that correct?
Yeah, they bring water to us once a month.
Gotcha. Wow, y'all.
Yeah, you can really see that burn mark near the bottom there.
Yeah, you like a little angle there. I'm not changing the view at all. I'm not doing anything here. I'm not going to zoom in, try to telestrate or anything. But there is a little diagonal.
I don't see any fuel leaking right now. Is that just me?
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
That's good.
are we zoomed all the way in right now? Mary, is the camera like all the way at maximum zoom? I'm not a photographer.
I don't believe so.
Well, maybe we shouldn't mess with it. I'm just curious. I don't want to accidentally jiggle an HDMI cable or anything like that. Look at that bird flying backwards. Did y'all see the bird flying against the wind and then get blown to the side? That's how strong the wind is right now out there.
I missed it, dang.
And Mary, do you have your binoculars? Can you see any more than we can see on the camera?
Not really.
Okay. Gah.
It looks like the vents up top are slowing down a little bit now.
Yep.
But so maybe the vehicle is now approaching being fully detanked.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully I'm not seeing any more venting out of that area at the bottom near the scorch mark. Knock on particle board.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully the vehicle is approaching a steady state and getting to an area where it's safe, and they can send some crews out to the pad and figure out what happened.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm wondering. I'm trying to think if there's supposed to be methane on the outside, like some sort of methane line on the outside, or is there something on the inside of the skirt that's maybe leaking? And what we were observing was the fire coming out from under the skirt and then naturally rising up the side because, fire, sort of its thing to go up. But
I think outside.
Do you think that fire was originating from the outside of the skirt, or is it possible it could be inside the skirt?
Yeah, I think it was
there's still
outside
flames
the
there, y'all. I can still see flames.
Yeah, it does look like it's still on fire.
And I know y'all are probably getting the Zoom live preview, which is going to encode it. Remember, it's a lower quality preview, but on the source feed, I can still see little licks of flames and little puffs of what seems to be leaking down there. Wow. What an exciting day.
Yeah, I had my binoculars out, and yeah, I can still see licks of flames under there.
Gotcha. I know it's a long way away, Mary, because you're a safe distance, but to you, does it look like it's coming out from under the skirt, or is it originating from a valve or a line on the outside of the skirt?
I think I really don't know that I can see that well to say for sure.
Yeah, because it's right there at the edge of the skirt. It's way down on the bottom of the skirt.
And,
wow.
And I can't see the flame all the time. It kind of comes and goes.
That's what led me to believe it may be originating from under the skirt. So there may be a flame that's sort of constantly going, and then every now and then it gets big enough that it licks around the side of the skirt. Again, y'all, I'm just saying what I think and saying what I see here. Not official information, but that would sort of explain the constant source of ignition, a flame that has not been extinguished up under the skirt, and that may be a challenge with the positioning of the suppression equipment. It may be that they can't get up underneath the skirt, right? And the skirt is almost blocking some of that flow, making it really difficult to put that out. But again, I'm not saying this for sure. I'm just looking and observing. That would explain it. And when you've got a fire, you have a couple different ways that you can put out a fire. You can remove its fuel, you can remove its oxygen, you can remove its ignition. So a fire in ambient atmosphere outside, difficult to remove its oxygen. It's like you have a grease fire, you put a pan over the top of it or something to remove the oxygen, or you put the cap on a candle. Removing the fuel would mean removing the methane. So detanking that thing so that whatever is leaking and continuing to fuel that flame would no longer have the fuel. And then removing the ignition, that's what they were trying to do with the water hose. And maybe it was a little bit difficult to remove that ignition point because of the skirt or the angle or whatever. I mean, this comes back to once again, Texas. You've ever heard them put out oil well fires where you can spray water at it, you can do whatever you want with fire suppression equipment, but sometimes in the past, they would literally put out oil well fires by blowing them up. So, not what we want to see here, you know? But when you have an ignition source, it can get to temperatures that are almost impossible to put out with water. So again, I'm talking. We'll see if we get an official statement from SpaceX, from Elon, whatever. But it's like SN4 needs to stop, drop, and roll or something. And yeah, Buster said fuel, oxygen, heat. Fuel, oxygen, ignition, heat. Yes.
Yeah.
You got it.
So it looks like what we're going to be looking for next is once the vehicle has been completely detanked, we'll have crews go to the pad, and if the fire is still persisting, they'll get their emergency crews to finish putting that out, and they'll go into vehicle inspections to see if there's any sort of damage to the vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to determine, does this vehicle go through more testing if the damage is extremely minor, or if it's more substantial. Is this the situation that, okay, let's bring on SN5? So we're going to have to wait and see on that.
Yeah. So really quickly, y'all, I want to say something. I saw some people that maybe were a little bit confused in chat. The big flare on the extreme right-hand side of your screen, bottom right, that is intentional. That is not the fire we're talking about. That is the methane flare that is supposed to be there. Okay, that is not the flames that we're talking about. We're talking about SN4, the big silver tower. The very bottom of it, between the sort of brown girders, the framework at the bottom that it sits on, and its bottom of that stainless steel skirt, that's where we're looking. I saw some people in chat saying, what, that fire is always there. We're not talking about that flare stack. That flare stack is expected.
We got tons of venting from the fuel tank farm just now.
Wow.
I forget who it was. A while ago on chat, I saw somebody say, good thing they didn't go with carbon fiber.
Yeah.
The steel can definitely take that heating with less of an issue.
Yep. That's just such a weird spot for a fire, because that's multiple stainless steel rings down in the skirt, right?
Yeah, it could have been a spot where some GSE plugged in or something.
Yeah. Do y'all mind if I telestrate real quick and just draw what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think you're good.
It is a real-time
Go for it.
feed, so I'm basically duplicating the feed. I'm downloading 9,000 times 2 here at the studio, so we wouldn't miss anything live. It would just be zoomed in a little bit. So look at this here, y'all. I'm going to swatch to telestration mode. This is now my drawing mode, and we're looking right down here is where the anomaly occurred. We say anomaly, where we observed a flame that it seemed to be put out with the fire equipment on the ground, it looked like. But that is what we have been looking at. It has been a little bit of time since I've seen no, there it is. You can still see the little licks of flame in there, I'm thinking, on occasion. Now, the other equipment that's in the area, Jack and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Mary, I know you may have trouble seeing what I'm drawing, but the fuel lines go right here from the ground, I think. Like, where I've circled is where they actually put the methane and the oxidizer, the LOX, into the vehicle. Is that correct right there?
Yeah.
There's like it looks like a brown line from this perspective, but you have this berm sort of thing here, and then out of that berm there's a line that goes right like that, and it seems like that line goes up into the side of the skirt. But how do they get methane to the top? Like, are there...
It could be that long vertical pipe right there. I mean, or it could be something internal plumbing that we don't know.
Yeah, that was my question. Like, is this a long vertical pipe going up the side that is how they get methane to the top?
There is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what the pipe is for, but there is a vertical pipe right there that you just circled that's running up the length of the vehicle.
Right. Understood. So again, I'm thinking. I mean, we know that These things over on the side here, we've got some different pressure vessels and COPV sorts of things, and that is sort of near the bottom of that, but I don't think you put methane in a COPV, question mark.
No, but it could have been maybe like a return, maybe a methane return.
Yeah.
Going back to the tank farm, because it seems like it's not necessarily where the plumbing, like that vertical brown line you just illustrated.
Yep.
But the scorch mark you can see is right next to that, so it's in the area of those ground connections.
Yeah. The point in the more I look at it, it almost looks like it's up off the bottom of the skirt just a little bit, but the point seems to be right around there. And then you can see the scorching sort of come up the side like that. That's discoloration. So again, I'm trying to keep the drawings on the screen at minimum so that we can actually get eyes on what's happening. But let's go back to live mode here.
Yeah, people saying in chat that there's other streams that show fire coming out of a vent. So there's a vent on the side.
Gotcha.
Looks like, or maybe it's not an intentional vent. Maybe GSE was plugged in there and it's not. Got shaken loose by the static fire. Speaking of, if you're just joining us, all 6,400 of you watching, what we saw earlier in the last 55 minutes, wow, it's been a quick stream today,
Jeez.
is what appeared to be a, hopefully, nominal static fire. I mean, that was a static fire, right? It wasn't a pre-burner. It wasn't anything else. So we saw a static fire. Hopefully that went well. And then after the static fire, we saw some... it appeared abnormal fire on the side of the vehicle, but we've seen similar things happen with Starhopper, and it looks to be under control at this point. And so now we're just waiting for them to safe the vehicle, safe the pad, and send crews back to the vehicle and get everything under control. Was that an accurate recap, you guys?
Yeah.
I think so, and I'm also rapidly refreshing Elon's Twitter feed in case he gives any sort of indication on to the result of the test.
Dutchman, thanks for the 10 Curly L super chat. And then they linked an imager before and after. Clearly a pipe missing. And yeah, looks like a pipe missing.
It does look like there's a pipe missing there, yeah.
There isn't something plugged in there now. So that's, yeah. And you could have been correct. It could have been finding the ignition source under the skirt. But the source of the whatever was burning was coming from that port.
Yeah, with that view, it does look like there is a pipe that is blown off the side or something like that. It's like a 90 right there, and it goes down into pipes that run around the top of the support structure, the test stand, basically. So I'm not sure the origin of that photo, so I'm not going to show that on stream.
Yeah, I'm working on something right now. That's why I've been talking.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
We do have a L2 photo that clearly shows the origin of what happened. I'm waiting to see if we can get permission to show that.
Ah, gotcha.
Chris said yes.
Yeah, but there's something I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Okay, Chris says show it.
Okay.
I'm going to throw it in...
Put it in Control Center for me.
Yeah, here it comes. I have even highlighted it. Oh, wait, sorry, not that one.
Oh, gosh. You don't have to draw the red circles. I draw the red circles around here.
There we go.
Oh, this pre-done red circle. What is this? All right, so for proper credit, what is the... Can I say the source of this photo?
Nomad on the NSF forums.
All right.
Yep,
So
Chris Bergen has signed off on this. So
okay. Y'all, we want to make very sure that that anything that we use on our stream, any media, we have the proper rights to. So that's why we take this really seriously, because there's so many photographers that are involved who have honestly had images stolen and used without permission, which really isn't cool. So anytime we do this, we want to make sure that we give proper credit and we make sure that we have permission to use images, okay?
And to be clear, this is an NSF photographer. We're just making sure that it was okay to post it outside of L2 because they originally posted it in our forum section. It's more restricted, but we're good. And this is a tight crop of an actual photo. This is not like, this is a very small crop, so we're good.
Yeah, okay, good deal. So I'm just going to put it picture in picture for now. So this is a photo from Nomad, and I can actually enhance that a little bit. You can see that the watermark there says Nomad, and that line right there seems to be what is now were the origin point of the flame, and you can actually see that. I don't want to draw a Q or anything like that, but it looks like that hose sort of comes down and then goes over in this direction to something that is probably going off to the tank farm. So exactly what that's for, I don't know. It may be a return of some sort. It certainly doesn't look like a primary feed line because it's tiny. It's skinny, right? But
yeah, could have been a return for something.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing, but if it was a methane, if it was for removing methane from the vehicle, I would wonder if they would instead send it to the flare stack. So yeah, I'm very curious as to what line that is. Maybe we'll find out on Twitter here in the next couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's again, looking at it, just looking at the data we have and stuff like that. What ignited it? Did we confirm we did not actually see the suppression system go off on the ground? I don't recall seeing it.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have. I think they would have aborted if they intended to turn that on. So
Gotcha.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Gotcha.
They would have had. They should have at least had plenty of time to click an abort button, I would think. So I don't know what happened.
Right, or it would be an automated sort of thing where the system has checks to see. Okay, yes, deluge system activated. And if that doesn't deluge, then maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Gah. But it does. So venting is minimal now. We still see sort of a little bit of venting from the top, but we're not getting a lot of venting right now. So has anybody seen the little ignition there?
I haven't. Hey, thanks, Dog Cruz, for the super chat.
Yeah.
Thanks for the great coverage. We appreciate it. If the water ain't delusion, this propellant ain't moving.
What?
I'm sorry.
What? I saw where you were going, but I couldn't come up with a better way to say it. So.
Yeah, I should have aborted that long before I started.
It's all good. You wade into the mire, and sometimes you look around and like, what was I doing? So here is a comment, and I'm going to address this one. XL Fury says, so this all ended up being a failure. And the answer to that, from my perspective, would be a resounding no. This is testing. These are prototypes. They're out there trying to figure out how to make these things work. They're literally building Starship fuel tanks on the beach in tents, right? And so every time they do this, they're not trying to roll out a perfect Starship the first time and then everything works perfectly. They're doing the rapid iteration. They've blown things up. They've crushed it due to pressures being wrong. What did Elon say? The test setup was wrong or something like that. Test configuration was wrong, and we took that to mean they literally just drained one tank before they drained the other tank in the wrong order. They are doing this on the fly. They're doing it fast and loose, and so make no mistake, they are being safe, right? They have the area excluded. There's no human beings. When we say a fire hose, that does not mean that there is a firefighter out there next to that stack spraying it down, right? It's an automated, robotic, remote control, teleoperated fire nozzle thing, right? So they're doing it safely, but SpaceX is definitely going to get information from this test, and we can certainly guess what the information is, but they are tracking what's going on. They are watching what's going on. They have cameras that are on Starhopper and everything right there. They probably have slow motion cameras and all sorts of crazy engineering views and feeds, and whatever happens, they're going to get information from this and address it, right?
Yeah, there's some space idioms that I'm not really a fan of, like space is hard and this is why we test. You kind of hear those so much that you get a little bit eye rolly. At least I do when I hear them. Space shouldn't be hard. Space should be, something that we all can do readily. That's what we all hope for, anyways. But for the other phrase, this is why we test. This is why they test. This is absolutely a successful test. They didn't lose the vehicle. It's still sitting there on the pad. It's still, ready to go. If they want more, data off of it, from another test, it's not gone. It's not the case that they have, totaled this thing with another crumple or, something terrible. So definitely not a failure. Successful test.
Yeah.
So that's the way that's just the way to look at it.
That's how I would look at it, and I know a lot of people are very keen for a very aggressive cadence to get hops done and to get launches done and all that sort of stuff. But going through all of these steps to make sure you can do all of those things safely is super important, right? Yeah, Wizard over here says once upon a time airplanes were hard, right? And personally, me, COVID aside, I would have no qualms stepping aboard a plane and flying somewhere. I mean, I do it regularly, right? So it's definitely part of the engineering learning process, right?
Yeah, just to reiterate, everyone, we do believe the static fire was completely successful. It was just the aftermath of the static fire. The thrust the Raptor created appears to have caused an umbilical or ground support line connecting to the rocket to be knocked loose, resulting in a fuel leak, which caused a bit of a fire. But
Yeah. And I mean, bit of a fire in terms of things that we've seen out here at SpaceX. You're going to recognize 3 tanks in the picture-in-picture. Have a look at this, right? This is from Jack, but that right there is Starhopper, mostly on fire.
We have seen more dramatic fires after static fires.
Yes. But those.
Yeah, this is when I was sitting on the roof with next to Everyday Astronaut for the Starhopper test series, and yep, you can see they hit the vehicle fired. They hit it with a fire hose, and this is a composite image of 2 photos, one exposed for the vehicle and one exposed for the fire. So fire didn't just make a completely white image.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of photo trickery there, but it's so that you can see. At the time, we were trying to sort of do the same thing that we've been doing today, figure out where and why that fire came from.
Yeah.
So definitely not an abnormal thing necessarily for us to see, flames around a large amount of flames around a vehicle post static fire.
Flaming
it's not
stainless
something
steel.
we want to see. Yeah, it's robust, right? So yeah, it's not something you necessarily want to see, but not the end of the world.
Yeah. And so I saw another question about what's the fate of SN4. Right now, we can't say what the fate of SN4 is. SpaceX is going to get up over there. They're going to look under the skirt. They're going to look at the Raptor. They're going to look at the ground equipment. And it is going to take engineers looking at the result of this test to determine what's going to happen with SN4.
And there's every possibility that whatever damage may have been incurred by the fire and stuff is very minor or easily repaired, and that we'll still see SN4 attempt a hop test if the engine performed nominally and things like that. So there's no ruling out that Starship SN4 is done yet. This could have been a very minor incident. So.
Yeah. It's an exciting incident, right?
Yeah.
It's an exciting incident, but for all we know, somebody at SpaceX was like, "Oh, brother, there that is again. All right, fine, detank the vehicle." Like, we don't know, right?
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
It looks like we've missed about 20 super chats, maybe more. How do we want to handle that?
I don't have the list on this side because I don't have a persistent log.
I have a log we're working on. Doss will have it soon.
Yeah.
For a future stream, but I can try to just run through everybody's name if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Let's definitely get caught up. Y'all, I run into this a lot of the time. Like, I'll be interviewing an astronaut or something like that, or covering a rocket launch, and tips, super chats, subs, whatever, memberships come in, like, when it's go time, and always we focus on the task at hand here, and then we'll always try to scroll back and get those super chats. So appreciate y'all being patient with it. But, Michael, go ahead if you could. Thank you for catching those.
Okay. Thank you, dog, for the $5. Somebody's names I have no idea how to pronounce. Thank you for the $10. Carthrick, $3. Thank you for support. Alvin, Chris B. That's the other Chris B. Not NASA Space Flight's Chris B. Just to be clear, we are not paying ourselves. That's somebody else. Chris, thank you. Trevor, again, thank you. Trevor's a big supporter of the stream. Same with Kaz Masters. They seem to be regulars. Aaron pointed out a photo on the forum which shows the leak area. That was a Mary photo from the other side. It looked like a ground support line, as we saw. And that Mary photo kind of showed the line leading back to that big area where all the pipes come from. So maybe we'll get that photo up in a second. Philip, wild speculation is going to push out the hop. Like we were saying, we're not quite sure yet what this will do, but they're obviously going to have to evaluate the situation, and it's possible that some sensors got fried that they will have to replace. Dutchman, thank you for super chat. The PayPal guy also pointing out the ground support equipment. It looks like a lot of people were figuring out there was ground support equipment issue before we did. So thanks for the updates. And Gregory, thank you for the super chat. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Walter, Olivia, Dutchman, Dog again, Zachary.
Wow.
And a bunch of names that I have just no idea how to even attempt to pronounce. Thank you for the super chat. And all of your super chats will play it in the ticker because we are breezing over them. But
Yeah.
and then Alan with a new membership to cap it off. So thank you all for the support. That is quite a lot of stuff that we missed. We do apologize, but we're obviously going to commentate when there's something happening live that seems of significant interest. So sorry for missing this again.
Yeah. That's just one of those things. Stuff starts to happen quick, fast, and in a hurry, and especially when it's not expected, right? And so we go sort of a focus mode on, oh my gosh, that little fire's still there, and I appreciate everybody's patience with us on that. So thank you all very much for the continued support.
Yeah, we are maintaining a list, so we are keeping track.
All right,
we're not
Santa
ignoring
Claus.
it. We're just focusing on the most important action that was happening at the exact time, because obviously that fire that didn't appear to be nominal. So.
Yeah.
And Jacob with another super chat. More stuff from Mary. Mary, a lot of supporters of the stream as usual. People appreciate you staying out in the heat for these tests.
I appreciate their support.
Yeah. Mary, I imagine you were pretty excited when that started to happen, huh?
Yeah. Wow. We've been waiting for static fire for some time now, so that was great to see.
Yep.
Has your heart rate started to drop yet, or is it still spiked?
Well, it's dropped.
Good.
I'm good.
Like, hold out your hand and see if your hand is like wavering. Like,
I kid. I know you're a cool customer, Mary.
that the flare just did a big burp there. Y'all see that?
Yeah. Mary, can you see any signs of vehicles getting ready to return to the pad soon?
There's not any vehicles that's not typically at the checkpoint. We've got the black Tesla, the security pickup, and a couple sheriff vehicles.
Did the employees leave?
Yes, they've gone.
Gotcha. They're all going and frantically Googling for flame-proof 90-degree angle pipes. Yeah, so Chris, NASA spaceflight over there, said Mary is she's an old hand, right? She's used to pops and flying bulkheads.
True.
Little fire is not going to phase Mary.
Right. Yeah. We've seen it all before.
Nice.
Got a message from John Krause. The real post-static fire fuel leaks are the friends we make along the way.
My God, he's not even on the stream and he finds someone.
Rent-free around here, jeez.
That was pretty satisfying.
I almost want to build this in stationeers. I could build a big tank tube thing and have a fire at the bottom of it. We've got that vent part in KSP. We could vent fuel out the bottom of a rocket in KSP if we wanted to too.
Right.
Oh man, the first time I tried that, I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna make it an action group. I'll just press the button. Oh God, all my fuel's gone."
Yeah.
I appreciate that they made it produce thrust, so you can actually have literally a cold gas thruster in KSP. The ISP is terrible, but you can make your own action grouped cold gas thrusters if you don't care about efficiency.
We got a question in chat from Jan Laher. I'm sorry about mispronouncing your last name. Mary, what about the sound of the static fire? What'd you hear?
Static fire. The typical sound.
Is it like a pop, or is it like a rushing wind noise, or is it so windy it's sort of hard to hear?
No, you can definitely hear it. I'm just not good at describing sounds.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure somebody could pull one up.
You know, one of
A
the
static Starhopper static fire, or yeah, I know I've done video for Starhopper with the static fire.
Yeah. If somebody gets that in the control room, I can play some of that audio from a video. And then, Mary, one of the things that I will work with you offline is see if we can't get that ambient sound microphone troubleshooted. We tried to
Right.
plug in a microphone that Mary had into the camera, but we were getting a buzzing noise, like a super annoying in the background. So we don't know if that's a cable thing or we need a new microphone, power source, whatever. But we should probably put some time aside to troubleshoot that so we can get ambient stream audio.
We got 2 super chats and John Krause photos.
So we're not going to read them? What?
It might have something to do with friends being made.
Oh, geez. I'll allow it since he paid $3.98 for that joke.
The real studio live stream appearances are the Fry,
The Fry.
then another super chat, ... friends we make along the way.
And with that, we have a moratorium on friends along the way jokes on the stream.
Jala, hi Das.
Hi,
Thanks,
Jala.
Mary. Back to bed. Get some sleep.
Oh, jeez.
That was an Australian currency, I think. So I wonder what time it is in Australia.
It is 4:47 a.m. on the eastern coast of Australia right now.
That would explain to going
Yep.
back to bed.
Yeah, these daytime testing windows are great for us in the States, but for our international viewers, all of a sudden, they're the ones staying up late at night, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and Damask, I see Damask just put up another picture of the pipe. We've got an NSF picture of the pipe that's high res static picture. There it is, right there. And so for everything that we've been able to observe, it was this pipe coming out of the side of the last ring of the skirt, and it seems like that pipe has popped off or broken something along those lines, and that may have been the source of the fire there. So. And I like a lot of people helping us out with the buzz, saying that it may have been the inverter or AC power. But at the time that we did that original test, the camera was on battery power and the microphone was on battery power. None of those components were plugged into AC. So that's something we'll spend some time troubleshooting. Oh, my picture-in-picture is still on the screen. Huh. Who's in charge here? Pay attention. So what's our plan here, y'all? Are we standing by for the road closure to end? Do we think there's going to be more today? Like, what is our plan? We're sort of sitting here. Seems like the excitement's died down. Minimal venting from the farm. Flare stack still, flaring or whatever the verb for that is. What is our plan here?
So they're probably not going to be testing anymore today, obviously.
Right.
Given, I think that's safe to say, given they have some repairs to do. But the next likely thing that would happen is that the vehicles would return to the pad once it's safe to do so. I'm not sure if we want to be live until then or not, but it definitely looks like they're going to make sure everything is safe and then return to the pad and make sure all the fire is safely extinguished and start assessing the damage to the vehicle right now. But
Yeah.
Mary, how hot is it right now? That's always a good thing to ask.
Well, I can look at my weather app, but yeah, I know it was going to be a bit toasty today.
Let's see. I'm seeing 32 Celsius right now, 89 currently in Boca Chica.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And the real feel is probably higher than that.
Oh, always with the humidity in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oops. Correction. Apparently there is a Boca Chica, Dominican Republic, which came up first. It's actually 86 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Celsius at the Boca Chica where Mary is right now. You're not in the Dominican Republic, right, Mary?
No, but that sounds wonderful too.
That sounds wonderful. Nice. Sorry for that. I just did a quick Google and it came up and it said Boca Chica weather and I read it off and it was close enough that it didn't trip any alarms in my head. Like if it said -2 degrees C, I would have been like, wait, what? So.
Jesse, welcome to the Red Team.
So what do y'all think of this? We're standing by. Things have calmed down. Mary, would you be comfortable trying to zoom the camera all the way in? Like not even change what it's pointed at, but just zoom it in? Let's test that out and see if it drops the feed or something.
I'll just zoom and not try to adjust anything.
Yeah. Again, y'all, this is an experiment for us. Is everybody else okay with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
Okay.
I say go.
Yeah, let's zoom in some here and just see how much
Here we
more
go.
reach we have. So we're almost at maximum zoom already, it looks like, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I possibly could go a little more, but we'd lose the top of SN4.
Let's try it.
Unless
Yeah.
you don't care.
Crank it
We don't
crank it
care.
all the way
Huh?
down, yeah.
Go all the way. Let's just see what it looks like.
Actually, that is it.
Okay.
Okay,
Can't
gotcha.
go any further.
That's the 600 millimeter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And the haze is so apparent today. I don't think we would see more if we went any farther anyways.
I can digitally bring it up a little bit here. Hang on. Well, that's not how you do that.
Wow, that is an amazing zoom there.
Enhance. Wow, geez, DOS, what did you do? DOS messed up. That's what DOS did. I got to reboot that feed. That was not an intentional joke, y'all. Now I can do it. But even that's just a little bit more magnification, but not too terribly much.
Yeah, and there's so much haze. Like I said, we're not going to see much more, I don't think.
Yeah. The only real solution here is to get physically inside the exclusion zone, and you don't do that with human beings, right? So Mary is at the minimum safe distance right now. So, all right. Good test. Mary, if you want to put it back or leave it or whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Whatever you guys want.
Clock District says, wow, DOS can zoom, enhance, and go back in time. roll back the clock to before that ground service equipment popped off the side there.
Yeah, Mary, I think you're good to zoom out a little bit more to get that flare stack.
I can
Yep.
do that. That good or a little more?
A little bit more.
Good?
Yeah, that looks good. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for humoring our little test there. Yeah, Anachronist, I did. So the way that I've got the telestrate crop done, when I go to telestrate mode, it actually, whatever. I turned the feed off again, but the telestrate mode actually zooms it in a little bit, just because I'm cropping out controls on the edge of the screen, tabs and stuff like that. Yeah, this is raw feed. This is the raw footage coming to the studio here from Mary's live view solo.
Oh, Big-Hearted Ape is saying,
Oh,
Elon took a picture from underneath, can see where the line enters. I bet they're talking about that, the photo Elon tweeted with the Raptor. I can show that quickly if we're not worried about something happening.
yeah, put that up on the overlay real quick.
Okay, we will do. I don't think it's connected though, is it? Maybe it's on the left.
I gotta make this bigger for my preview.
I would think that the box that we're seeing on the left. Oh, I guess there's another one on the right. Darn. I'm not sure which side the pipes are coming in.
I don't see the hose.
I think the ground support equipment must be in that top left corner where it comes from. So the pipe should then be at the very top of the screen.
Like
but I'm not seeing it.
off the
It
screen,
might have
right?
not been connected when that photo was taken or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I think that pipe is cropped off the top of this photo here.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll remove it. That was a good suggestion, though.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. All right. In Revero, yeah, when we were on that other picture, that is correct. The engine is not quite centered. There are 3 mount points for Raptors down there, but they do not need all 3 Raptors for a hop of SN4. They were just going to do 1. And from our understanding, because Raptor can thrust vector, gimbal, they can do a hop with only 1 engine that's slightly off axis here. That's our understanding of it. We did sort of everybody notice that engine looked like it wasn't quite in the middle. What are we looking on battery time here, y'all?
About 30 minutes. Well, we set up for like, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? So maybe 20 minutes on battery.
Gotcha. So are we rapidly approaching? I mean, we don't know how long they're going to be standing by to safe this area, right?
Yeah, the vehicle does look definitely stable and safe right now, so I don't know if we really need to stay alive any longer.
Yeah.
We can. I mean, it's definitely. We're not going to see any activity at the pad for a while now. They got to go do some inspections and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So should we say, instead of us just standing by for the roadblock to open, which is normally our endpoint, once that roadblock opens, we know that everything's spooled down. We would expect them to take a little bit more time, a little bit excess caution here because of what we saw happen before they declare the roadblock open. We may actually see SpaceX people approach it before they remove the actual roadblock, right? So it may be time for us to start shutting down the stream, right?
I think so.
Chad, I know you hate it. I know that you would hang out here with us all day if we were just sitting here streaming, but I think we've come up on the end of course, the flare stack's going to be doing a big burp there as soon as I say that, but I think we're all sort of in agreement on this end that we will be spooling down the stream now. Right, everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to do a quick recap of what we saw static fire-wise?
I can try.
I can go for
Or
it.
Jack can try.
Yeah. Whichever. I'm not going to choose favorites. Okay, fine. Jack, go.
I'm the favorite.
No, but dead air. No dead air.
So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today for what appeared to be a successful static fire test of Starship SN4. This is the 3rd static fire that the vehicle has undergone, the first with Raptor SN20. It appeared to be a nominal static fire. We did see what looked like a fuel line or some sort of GSC equipment line pop off the bottom there, and some fire after the static fire. So the vehicle appears to be safe now, which is why we're comfortable wrapping up our stream here. But SpaceX will clearly want to send some crews to the pad, check the vehicle, make sure everything's okay, and review the data from today's test. So again, nominal static fire, we think. And now we're just waiting for updates from SpaceX and the team there. Hopefully we know more as soon as possible and we can head into a hop campaign soon. And thanks again to Mary, who's been out there braving the heat and bringing us these amazing live views. Let's get some love in chat for Mary. Thank you so much, guys.
Always.
And I guess that's our update. I can go around and do the sign off, but that would be taking your job, Das. So
Well,
I'll let you talk now.
what do we expect the next officially in terms of road closures and
Right.
in test windows? What do we expect, knowing that those may be very flexible based on SpaceX reviewing what happened today?
I believe it is again noon to 6 p.m. local time tomorrow is the next road closure, correct?
Yes, but the flight restriction does last from now through tomorrow at 6 p.m. So they
okay.
theoretically could test. Normally, the flight restrictions are the one thing that they cannot move very easily at the last minute. So they
Right.
do have the ability to move things around a little bit since they have a long flight restriction up. But I'm guessing, I mean, the static fire test was the last bit of ground testing we expected before the hop.
Before the
And
hop.
it appears that the static fire itself went good. So now it's just
Just
going to really
gonna
depend on how much damage there is
Right.
in terms of if they proceed with the hop and when that would be if they do. And the hop was no earlier than May 21st as of the current schedule, which was
that was
created
before
yesterday.
yesterday got
Yeah,
scrapped.
before the delays. That's correct, Thomas. So it's possible the hop may also slip a day.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. They obviously have some repairs to do, but I think any further testing today or even tomorrow looks to be unlikely. The next activity with Starship SN4 most likely would be a hop if things don't have to change significantly based on the damage that occurred today.
Right. And while y'all were doing that, thank you for getting that there. I actually queued up the replay. So this is the replay of what we saw earlier. This is the static fire and the resulting event. So let me just roll that real quick. And I think I got this. Yeah, there you go. So a good static fire, we saw ignition, we saw force coming from the engine, that big cloud of dust that you expect from a static fire as opposed to a pre-burner, which would just be a ball of flame. But when the dust cleared, we actually saw that weirdness down at the bottom, a lot of flames on the left-hand side, which were pretty rapidly extinguished. But look at that, the flames coming out of the right-hand side there. That is what we have been talking about, and that is sort of the day. Let me red circle it for you right there. Those flames right there is what caused all of the excitement, seemingly caused by a line popping off the side of the skirt there, popping out of the side of the skirt. It probably was just penetrating the skirt, going through the side of the skirt there. But that is what we saw earlier. And if you want, you can always roll these streams back yourself. This is a live stream, and you can go back to the VOD and watch it again. This was at... Well, I can't give you a timestamp because right now it's relative time. It's back an hour from right now, but that event occurred just about an hour ago.
It was just about 1 o'clock Central Time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Oh yeah, hey, there was a thanks for the fantastic stream. Let's gross. Thank you very much for the support there. And then one last thing here, the next launch, right? The next launch that we're expecting. We did get information on Starlink. And we know that Starlink has now been pushed. The next time SpaceX launches, they're going to be doing the old American astronauts on American rockets from American soil thing, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't know for sure, but I think there's a safe chance we'll probably be live for that, right, Dust?
I mean, maybe. I twist my arm a bit, but you know. So that is coming up next week. That SpaceX DM2. Separate from Starship here, but part of the commercial crew program for the first time, launching actual astronauts into orbit up to the space station on a Dragon and Falcon 9 rocket. So that is coming up next week. One more time, we do not believe there's going to be a hop tomorrow with what we saw today. The earliest hop that could have happened, as of our latest information yesterday, was the 21st, 2 days from now. Certainly no hop tomorrow, probably no hop on Thursday either, but we'll stand by. We'll see if SpaceX gives us some official information on this and go from there. Let's go around the horn and say goodbye, y'all, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Thomas Burkhardt here. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Starship testing and live SpaceX coverage.
Cool. We got Michael Baylor still here?
Yes, you do. And good to see a static fire test today on the third attempt. Luckily, that fuel leak afterward didn't seem to be too serious.
Excellent. And Jack, you still with us?
Yep, still here. Jack Byer signing off. I just put a link to my Twitter and Instagram in chat if you care.
Yeah, I was just trying to get people's links as well so that I could post them up. Mary, how you doing out there?
I'm doing great, and thanks everybody for joining us today.
Always, always. Y'all, Mary is the reason that we get these fantastic live views while all of us sit in our homes, in our comfy chairs, in our air conditioning, if that's your sort of thing where you live. Mary is out there on the side of the road, just outside the safe distance, running the cameras to bring us these live feeds. So thank you very much for all of the love and support that you put in chat for Mary, who gets this done for us. So, of course, she is Boca Chica, Gal on Twitter. And if you're following anybody, you need to be following Boca Chica Gal on Twitter. And then, did I get everybody else? Jack, Thomas, Michael. Yep. Lastly here, I'm the host. I'm John Galloway. I'm a Twitch streamer who does a bunch of STEM outreach stuff. And I'm sort of clicking the OBS buttons in the background and setting up all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Michael Baylor as well with the overlays and pictures and things. Michael, thank you so much. It makes the stream look so much better with that stuff. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. And this is going to be NASA's space flight signing off for a successful Starship static fire test, because SpaceX is going to get some data from it, and we'll see what their next steps are. But for now, later, nerds. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Alright, the chamber pressure looks good.
Following up.